because the truth is that we are supposed to be a light to the world. We're supposed to show the world how things are done. And if we are now becoming short of that, there is a big problem with us. But let us not digress. Let's go back to the question. I think from my own point of view, the law should take its course. If they have been found guilty, the law should take its course. I know we have juvenile centers, we have correctional centers around. Don't ask me if there's a similitude, of correction in it, because quite a lot of NGOs and faith-based, people go in there, to make a little bit of correction in them. Okay. And we just trust God that will be done. But the law should take its course if they are found guilty. That's my own. And then quite a lot of therapy, both for the parents and for the boys, a lot of counseling should go on, so that, because they need to change their mind. Everything is about the mind, you understand? Okay. So they need to change the mind, and then therapy sessions for even the people in that school, and then they cannot stop there. Even the teachers, maybe they don't even know what they're supposed to, because the truth about it, then if you really look at this thing did not happen for one day. It had been happening over time. Over the years. So I see quite a lot of things there. Even the relationship with the son, to the mother, to the parent. Let me say now, because we have to look at it holistically now. Okay. That's my own. It has happened. But what is the way forward? And then is it that the schools now, they don't have mother figures, or they have not created an avenue where if something is happening to you, you should talk out. You understand? Maybe they have not done that. So if we want to look at it holistically, I think we need to look at it on a 360 degree.
Both the school
the teachers, the students, you understand?
But I think this particular act is highly extreme, and you would be shocked about it. A lot of
Daniel, even
of these faith-based boarding schools.
I will even say both faith and unfaith, whatever it is. Boarding schools, in fact, the atrocity, you mentioned Simba now, the atrocities even the so-called guardians, the so-called teachers do on them. You understand? So it calls for a call to action.
I think that's
okay.
I think just like Buki was saying, a lot of these things that happen, people people act out what has already been acted out on them. So it's kind of like something that is being passed down. So if you see, these people are seniors and they probably had this kind of experience when they were juniors as well, and they just have this mandate to pass it down to people ahead of them. So it is a call for me, just like we're talking in just furtherance of what is the solution. It is a call to help to kind of like create an environment from the school and from the parents where we help these students get real about what is going on with them. Because in faith-based school, usually there's this whether unspoken kind of expectations that are expected from these students. And so a lot of these students tend to want to act up to it and then pretend a lot, even at just basically hiding out characters that will go on to hurt the school and of course the community at large, which is what we are seeing now. So that is a deeper issue we should begin to look through. Maybe it's not just about our chapel services and all of that, or maybe these things are not helping as much. It's not to say, oh, you don't believe in the word of God, but it's to begin to dig deeper into the deeper issues that are unspoken to say solve it. And also it is where do we start solving it from? It's also a call to parents to say that, keeping, should I use the word, I don't want to use the word dumping, but keeping your child in a faith-based school doesn't mean that's the beginning and the end. It's going to wash all their characters away. It's going to teach them all and all.
They're going to teach them morals.
Yes, because that's what a lot of people
the perception of
So let me just drop them there and go with my busy life.
And then let them take care of the child. Let the child get education and also get spirituality at the same time.
And it doesn't usually. It should help, but it doesn't usually work out that way.
Not the side that the parents are thinking of.
Absolutely.
A lot lot of parents are putting their kids in faith-based schools because they feel that they're going to have a balance between going to school and having a spiritual life. But you will be shocked.
Relationship.
Well, see, I want to differ a bit. And I will tell you where my perspective is coming from, and it is a challenge for everyone. I mean, yes, I'm on the other side too, faith-based, and I believe that we have a higher calling by God to have standards. Like I mentioned when I was talking earlier, that we are the light of the world. So when the light now becomes the darkness, it is a call for us to sit back and evaluate ourselves and ask ourselves, where have we failed? The truth about it is that, yes, I agree with Nkechi that it starts from supposed to be a place where you can mend the minds. And that is where we have failed.
Yes,
we have failed in that.
that we have failed because there's a lot of religiosity that people tend to bring into which is where I was even coming from.
Yeah.
Anyways, I've been watching a couple of series now, and it's just bad, the things that go on in the faith. And it starts from religiosity. What is this religiosity being defined? Is when you want to try to meet up to certain expectation that people have of you without being sincere about struggles that a person is having in order for it to get solved.
So that is
so
why
people keep mounting and mounting and mounting until they become monsters, which is not supposed to be.
Absolutely. And that is why I believe that it is not just the fact that you carry Bible. But the fact that you are professional in your work.
Okay.
Because if you are professional in your work, you will get to know that there are some things they exhibit at that stage. If you are professional in your work, you will know how to walk them through. In fact, even if you are professional in your work, with the fact that you come from a faith-based organization, it should even add to what you are doing,
Okay.
And then also, like I said, this thing, it's not a thing of one day. It had been a tradition, like you said.
Yes.
Because
that
is
for somebody to be doing another person,
it just came out now.
That is it. That is it. So if you're professional, you will know that these things happen and you need to break it down. So we're not just looking at this so-called school now. We are looking generally at a 360-degree thing, that they need to sit back now. If government, and that is the issue we keep saying now, that government has entered into it. But I believe that the people will understand what to do in the boarding houses, because we have all kinds of experiences. But to be practical, I remember in our own days there are some that symbols experiences, but you see, the truth about it is that some of us that went through boarding school, you find out that we come out as a better person. It depends on the hand, that and then the system, the school, because they were there looking at us, and then we had people that, I mean, the matrons, that you can go and talk to if there's an issue. That's why I'm querying it that. So we do not have that.
Yeah, they're not people to talk to.
More so that it's a faith-based, that you should have people, career counselors, that you can talk to say, this is what is happening to me. So if that is not there, then it is wrong. Because if they are going to do the investigation, they should not just stop at investigating what has happened. But they should begin to look at the systems,
the tradition that has allowed that to strive,
so that it can, it can be sharpened up. Right. And I call to the leaders of the faith base, the fathers, the fathers. This is the time to rise up and say, education is priority. And anybody that goes through these so-called faith-based schools, they should come out a better person. This is the time for action for them.
Another thing that I have to add, in addition to what you're saying about systems, is that the modeling of the leaders are also important. When I mean leaders, I mean teachers, the house mistress, the model, the kind of lives that they live as well. And I'm not saying they're living any kind of life, but I'm saying what they model to the students in terms of what they do, what they say, the consistency with their lives.
Some of them are guilty.
Important. Yes, because when you're having it, it doesn't have to be one big crime. When you don't say what you do or you don't mean what you say, things like that, and these students that are growing, teenagers, they're seeing this thing, they just begin to care less. So this thing, just like you're saying, when we are building a faith-based school, is a call to it's very
it's
high calling.
Order.
Yes,
Yeah.
it's not
just the system, but you also have to work on the mind. The mind has to be transformed. A transformed mind will understand the systems and what you're trying to do. But if you're just working on the system, like you said, they will break it. At that age, they want to test, they want to experiment, and all that. They will break it. So it's about also working on the mind to be transformed. Okay. And it's a collective work. The home also must do it. And then, of course, the school also must do it. You understand?
Yes. Yeah. This is still the newspaper review on Women Radio 91.7. Let's get your comments on that. 070-317-56537. The Punch has the headline, Federal Government Adopting Wrong Strategies to Address Bad Economy. And the former President Olusegun Obasanjo on Tuesday said the country wasn't doing the right thing to improve its poor economy and tackle poverty. The former president, who said this at the New Year message at the Olusegun Obasanjo Presidential Library, Abeokuta, Ogun State, cautioned Nigerian leaders to stop blaming God for insecurity, bad economy, poverty, and other challenges confronting the country. Obasanjo said this on Tuesday as President Muhammadu Buhari urged Nigerians to return to agriculture. He said the country's oil industry was in turmoil. But economic experts dismissed Buhari's statement, saying government was not serious about diversification of the economy. In November, Nigeria entered its second recession in 5 years, according to the Nigerian Bureau of Statistics. In its gross domestic product, that GDP report for third quarter, the GDP fell by 3.62% in the third month of September. GDP is the broadest measure of the economic prosperity. Obasanjo will send this New Year message to Nigerians in an interview with journalists, assess the economic strategies for government. He also explained how the country would improve its economy. He stated, when we do the right things, we are not doing the right things right now. When we do the right things, the economy will be what it should be. And somebody says wisdom is knowing what to do and doing it, knowing where to go and going there, knowing what to say and also saying it. These are key things to this particular issue. Now, this is not the first time somebody has come out to say they are not taking the right decisions and all. But if we evaluate 2020 and look at how well has government fared in taking heed to this, statements like this instead of reacting. Next thing, maybe by this time tomorrow now, we'll get the message from the presidency reacting to what the former president has said with regards to the economy not in good shape and government not adopting the right strategy to addressing the bad economy. What if you evaluate 2020, do you think the government is going to be able to do what is right?
Evaluating 2020 in terms of what you have said, let's holistically, you might say, putting everything into a big basket, have they done well? Personally, I do not think so. But when you look at the nitty-gritty, there are quite a lot of sectors that, you could see that, yes, the government did well. We are only looking at it from a perspective that government is supposed to take care of the lives of the citizens, create a good environment for them. And if you take the pulse of every average Nigerian on the street, what they will tell you is that the government has not done well. So that is from that angle I am looking at now. You understand? But by the time you break it down, there are some critical sectors that, yes, that government really, they did well. We cannot start mentioning that. Quite a lot of us know that. But when you now take a potpourri of everything and align it with the average Nigerian, if an average Nigerian says our government has done well for me, you will know that, yes, they have actually done that. I'm not talking about the 200 million Nigerians, but if you take a good sample and they say, government has done well for me, then yes, you know that government has really done well.
So for me, There's a lot of improvement. There's a lot of improvement that can be made and should be made. We saw saw trials. I would say we saw trials. Of course, there's some aspects where we saw a lot of dragging back and forth. Take for instance the ASU, but then we saw other aspects that I'm just trying to remember right now, where we also, for me, just putting in, you said something about wisdom, just trying to put in things that will actually work out, especially when it comes to this running. I just hope is something that we're able to do in 2021. This running around different things. We've had guests that have even sat in here with come in and say, oh, when you ask questions, oh, what do you think will help? And they say things like, oh, electricity. If electricity is taken care of, is going to help our businesses. So for me, done, and it looks like a government is trying to do like 100 things at the same time without necessarily prioritizing what we're not going to feel, then we're not going to feel their presence as much, which is what I think has been the mistake of so yeah, it's just government that have come in and gone out, so to speak, when it comes to trying to administer what works for the nation. So yes, let's prioritize what is right, because there are a lot of things that we must do for Nigeria, but we must start with the first two, first three, first five, if we want to see the growth.
All right. 27 minutes to 9 on Women Radio WFM 91.7. This is the newspaper review. Do well to be part of this conversation. Send us a text or a WhatsApp message on 070-317-56537. There's the headline with regards to foodstuffs, which is President Buhari pledges to arrest the soaring foodstuffs prices. I haven't actually gone out to really do a lot, but then I was trying to get a few things and I realized that, okay, these prices have been upped one way or the other. Thank God we can afford it, but one way or the other, somebody is feeling that ripple effect somewhere. So President Muhammad Buhari yesterday committed his administration to checking the soaring price of foodstuff, which have become a President Muhammad Buhari yesterday committed his administration to checking the soaring price of foodstuff, which have become a major driver of inflation in the country. The president at a virtual meeting of the Presidential Economic Advisory Council assured the council of the administration's readiness to monitor the persistent general rise in the price of food commodities in 2021 with a view to bringing them down. The president made a commitment on the same day the Kebbi State Governor and Senator Abubakar Bagudu gave the high rating to the quality of rice being produced in the country, saying that Nigeria is now competitive in the production of the commodity. And I'm going to underline the word competitive in the production of the commodity. A statement by presidential spokesman Malam Garba Shehu also quoted the president as reiterating his directive to the Central Bank of Nigeria not to grant foreign exchange for the importation of foodstuff. This is the third time the president would issue the directive, first in August and then in 2019 and then September and again now. Recent data released by the National Bureau of Statistics has shown that Nigeria's Consumer Price Index, which measures inflation, increased by 14.89% year-on-year in November compared to 14.23% in the preceding month. The report also showed that the Composite Food Index, which account for more than half of the country's inflation basket, has risen sharply by 18.30% in the review period compared to the 17.38% in October. I remember a particular report which the president actually said that it was middlemen that was allowing the inflation of prices of food, and it wasn't his administration. So the two-edged side of the mouth, which Mr. President is speaking from, or those who speak for Mr. President are speaking from, you are saying what have you actively done in this issue? And these are some of the reasons why people might say the government have not taken this particular issues serious with regards to diversification. We saw that within a pandemic there was a very strong hike in the price of food items. I for one felt this sharp impact of the price of food items, from rice to all of that. When I went home about 2 weeks ago, my mom was like, she remembers when we were still very, very young, she was buying a bag of rice 6,000. I was like, bag of rice 6,000? What's that?
We even bought bag of rice for 100 naira.
Oh.
So, but and then she was like, now bag of rice 25,000. She was even telling you small grain this price, large grain this price, foreign rice this price. I'm like, what exactly is going on? All of this impact took place within a pandemic.
Yeah,
And the government did not want to own up to the responsibility that they had a part to play in this.
For me, what would you expect them to do? You understand? The spokespeople will always want to defend, their government that they have done so well. But it is we people, that we will say they have not done any well. He said, okay, the prices, what has he done with the prices? It's not just for you to sit down, at the FEC meeting and say that's my own feeling.
Okay.
Let's give an example of what I think they should begin to do, because in terms of government's hand and leg has to be in it. In the framework, then everybody starts plugging into it. For instance, we are aware of this governor that launched a multi-billion poultry processing plant.
Okay.
And he's saying that for that plant to run itself, they need 5,000 birds on a weekly basis. So what is he saying indirectly? I need to create farmers. You understand? I need to create farmers. So they will create the demand, and then people begin to feed into it. So you can imagine maybe 500 or 50 farmers will come out of that. And then, every week, then you can look at the labor cost, and then the people that will be fed into the channel. So indirectly, you are bringing in employment. You understand?
Yes.
So I just use that as an example. The government will say, oh, we created youths that are into agric and all that. And I
How
keep
are you
saying
engaging them?
Exactly. And I'm saying, okay, the ones I have seen, apart from the Anchor Borrowers program, some worked, some did not work. Let's be practical about that. But outside of that, you will tell the youths to do this, to go to farm and blah, blah, blah. And then at the point of harvesting, you're not there to gather. So you make them to produce, and then you are also making them to go and sell. So at the end of the day, there are quite a lot of things that are falling out of place. And then, for them this thing is not working. But if you have a system that, yes, I mean, it's like a production plant. Another one, it fits into another one. The issue of the rice, we've talked about the rice. I mean, that's a point of concentration for today. Why is the rice expensive? You understand why? You say it's middlemen. Can't we do away with middlemen, for goodness sake? But even if you say you want to set up a system where the middlemen are not there, you find out that the corruption, again, we are not going back to corruption. We are the ones destroying ourselves, apart from the fact that the government, because if you say, look, these are the centers where you can pick it up, you understand, or even break the bulk, the people will go buy and buy from the distributor, and then you can even have a controlled price. But you see, at the end of the day, someone will say, my own logistics cost is this. So if that is the logistical, can we walk about the logistics cost? Because then you are creating more employment for people. You understand? And then the road as well. So it's a whole gamut of so many things that at their level they should say, okay, how will this work? And then they now begin to look at the nitty-gritty of this and make sure that all these things work.
I also think that we have not successfully, one of the things the government has not been able to successfully do is to create the right value chain when it comes to agriculture. The value chain in agriculture is still very porous in terms of what is our mechanism. One of the things that makes a great nation is a country that produces. What not just in food now. Food is one major aspect. I was just hearing of the research institute that is in Niger State, which is on dealing with stuff like all these cereals and all that. That's in Niger State. And I'm asking myself, what is the level of investment put into this particular research institute? What are the results so far? Are cereals becoming cheaper and affordable? These are basic things that children, these things that they help children grow effectively. What is the reach of this cereals? What is the capacity? Why is it just in one location? If it's just in one location, what is their distribution power? What's their production power? And these are the things we need to look at. Our chain for agriculture value chain is still not in place. Look at tomatoes will be coming in from the north. By the time they get here, it's more than about 30% of it or even more would be damaged. So, and these are the things that we need to effectively look at. We have so many resources available to us for us to improve on the value chain of these things, but we have not been able to do it.
And just like one of the guests that you brought in one time was talking about, I think she was doing it agriculture there about, she was talking about this before your goods get from point A to point B, the challenges that's involved in it, roads and all of that.
I can give you an
experience. Move it from here to there. So those things, if they're not put in place, it ultimately frustrates the efforts.
It actually frustrates, and a lot of people have pulled back. I'll give you an experience of someone that I know who has the state says they want to create farm settlements, for oil palm. And then they allocated the hectares, for them. And they promised that they are going to give them access road, because the truth about it is that you have to have road.
That road, yes.
You understand? Do you know that we are talking about 10 years now? That state has not done anything about the road network. So even for them to enter into their farm is a big issue.
I have a friend who has
big issue.
Who deals with ships and stuff with trucks, and he's like, if you want to take a good from Lagos to this place, the drivers will tell you, let's go and see the road first before we now come and think of how much we charge you.
That is it.
Can you imagine?
They say, if they don't know the road, they say, we want to go and see the road. When we see the road, we'll come back and tell you how much you would pay for us to move your goods from Lagos to whatever location you are going to.
So it means the more sport the road is, the more expensive. Then of course I'm going to add money to my product.
That is it. So that's why I'm saying that they need to deconstruct. They need to look at it holistically, see the areas where expenses are made, and how can we reduce these expenses. For instance, we talked about the road. The road should be good. You understand? Bringing fresh things from that place to this place is either it is semi-processed or they use refrigerated fans. You understand? And I mean, they can look at it. It's about change of our culture. We necessarily do not have to have fresh tomatoes. You understand? Or look for systems where, the greenhouses are there that we can always produce our fresh tomatoes. So it's an issue of looking at it holistically to say, okay, where are the gaps? And how can we fill it?
All right, let's take some messages here this morning. 070-317-56537. Engineer Wale Nikorodu says the upsurge in food price is a result of insecurity in the north. Until government take a decisive step in the security of lives and property of Nigerians, we would continue to experience increase in food prices and food scarcity. All right, that's Engineer Wale Nikorodu. Says compliments of the season. Oluwalao in Ogun State says every parent has the primary responsibility of looking after the general well-being and the welfare of their children. Some faith-based schools have cultists among their pupils. The principal of faith-based school died mysteriously. His successor, almost within 7 years, also died. Tell me what is going on. All right, this is coming in from Oluwalao in Ogun State. Another text message here from Adebimpe in Yaba. It says faith-based institution is a preacher's kid doesn't mean that the child will turn out right. The root cause of the problem comes from the smallest unit, which is the family. If you have not taught your children properly, placing them in based institutions does not mean anything. However, these institutions need to look inward and find out what the problem is, because honestly, all this act in those places is nothing but holier than thou. All right, Adebimpe in Yaba. Let's take some of your WhatsApp messages right now. 070-317-56537. Good morning, WFM. My question this morning is, have we ever been out of recession in Nigeria? Since we started this thing called democracy, we have always been in recession, only that it is on fire now in this regime. That it's a deswa from Ibafo. When do you air Panorama now? My sister is concerned. Okay, so Panorama has been on a break because of the whole holiday season, and they would be back first week in January. So just do well to keep it locked. Panorama still holds at 12:15 to 1 o'clock, but they have been on a break because of the whole festivity. Yep. So don't think the Panorama has gone anywhere. Still is on the radio. All right. Victor Kennedy says Nigeria has failed in security, economy, infrastructure, and social amenity. Failure in managing the electricity. In providing prepaid meter to the common man. Food scarcity, loss of jobs, high rate of unemployment. Please, can your question mention these things? Can your radio mention these things? Can you mention something that the government has done? Okay, Victor L. Kennedy. All right, says this is from Martins in Oshodi. Says on the issue of faith-based boarding school, parents need to come to terms with the fact that they have a responsibility towards their children. Sending a child to a place is not a magic wand that will change the child. It is only when the life is yielding to Christ that such change will come. At home, what example are your child copying from you? On Bishop Kuku, you can see the level of hypocrisy in the land. All these people from North have been speaking against the government, including Sultan, and nobody called for their head because it is coming from a Christian. Some are calling for his arrest. What a country. It says, Dan, how many Zambiza forests do we have? The military always showing us area view of bombing terrorists in Zambiza. Who are they deceiving? All right, Martins in Oshodi. Akinlolu Dom from Ikorodu says, there is need for professional guidance and counseling personnel in all schools. Also, I believe strongly in co-educational schools rather than single-sex schools. Believe me, history has shown that single-sex school is a kind of postponing the evil days. Akinlolu Don sending us that message in this morning. Rosa Mutiu in Alakpere says, unfortunate that Bishop Kuku could get allies with his inciting sermon that could lead to another destruction act like it happened after the Entas protest. Nigerians are still deep asleep. More reason some people are still parading themselves. Says no nation can do without God, but God will not come down to do anything for us in this country. Both leaders and followers should do the right thing and see how God will turn things around. All right, that's Rosenje Mutiu's message this morning. And Jawali Nikorodu says the assertion of Obasanjo and Patotomi on the wrong handling of the economy by the federal government should be looked into. It is time PMB rejects his cabinet to allow economists who can help fix the economy because our economy is in shambles. Yearly signing of the budget without an appraisal of the previous budget should be discontinued. We need independent bodies that can monitor implementations of our annual budget so that the masses can feel the positive impact. Have a pleasant day. That's Engineer Wali's message this morning. All right. Ulualau says, there's a lot of Yoruba here, and I'm going to try to be able to read this one. It said, the truth goes to the market and becomes unsellable because the people prefer to buy lies and deception. All right. Truth is bitter. People hate the truth. Akuku has spoken naked truth to power. Let them work on the message and leave the message alone. Most leaders hate to hear the truth, especially truth that negatively affects them. That's Ulualao in Ogun State. 070-317-56537 is the number to send us a text or a WhatsApp message this morning. Chuks from Ikeja says, crime rate in Nigeria will keep going up unabated until the time when the police begin to do diligent investigation and prosecution and court begins to treat cases as they come, not allowing some unserious lawyers that are not in the habit of appearing before judges with flimsy excuse getting away with it, even when they keep playing the same game before the same judge on the same matter. Good morning. All right, that's Chuk's message this morning. It says, on insecurity, Nigeria is not going to be okay until we do restructure. All right, I think we have one more. I'll take this one more. We'll go back into the dailies. James Ogbonna in Oshodi says, stop blaming God for our problem. I like what Ruby just said, that some people have spent a greater time they should have used to develop the country, blaming those in power before them. Sadly enough, they have taken is a step further now, blaming God. Please, Mr. Dan, you guys should suggest the NIMC to use voting centers or polling units as centers to register NIN to ease the congestions in their headquarters. It will make things faster and reduce the spread of COVID. This is James Ogbonna. I'm getting, somebody was sending me a message yesterday that in Magboro or is in Wawa, that they're collecting 2,000 naira to register for the NIN. And I was like, I really want to go and find out myself. The person was really certain that the they were charging because the person called me to ask me, are we supposed to pay for it? I said no, it's free of charge. Like, no, it's not free. They asked me to pay 2,000 yesterday.
Well, I know, you know, when you want to do a project like this and you don't look at all the areas and ensure that it is easily reachable by the citizens, when you make it something that it's like is essential but is scarce, people will capitalize on it. For instance, I'm aware of a time that that we had this in a particular area where they were charging 2,000, you know, and I actually investigated. I found out that fine, unquote, he was very wrong, but it was like, well, it's an opportunity I cashed onto. You understand that people need it. You know, it was the NIM. I mean, people needed it. So so they came. I mean, they were able to get, you know, some of the people from their
officials,
from the officials to come
from their office.
You know, so he had to cover the cost of the hall, the lights.
I see.
You understand?
Now,
I
see. So
and then
like
that
it was an independent.
Yes,
somebody
was an
just
independent.
decided to.
And he had to cover all the costs.
All those costs.
You understand? And also
charging.
welfare. And of course, you know that let's be practical. Something has to come into the person's pocket. So where am I going is that when we want to do a project like this, let them recruit project managers, professionals. You know, for me, I'm looking at it that they did not take it to the schools. Even general hospitals, you know, where you have influx of people, you know, put it there. You understand? Yes, I know some religious organizations went there, but you could have said, look, for every organization, please come and take and let our officials go there. You know, put these things there, and then for all the schools, you can imagine all the schools.
That would have solved
I mean, you could put it, okay, for Shomolu, how many schools do we have there? Okay, we'll come from one school to another school. Do you know how many children they will have registered? They would have been able to understand? Register. And then this morning I was just one thing, was it yesterday or yesterday? I was even thinking about it that, okay, at what age am I supposed to have, you know, a name? At what age?
9.
As long as you're a Nigerian, I guess.
Yes.
As long as you're a Nigerian. So
your fingerprint won't change.
So it won't change.
Yes,
so that means that means that as a baby, I can have. I'm asking.
Yeah, basically, I think maybe you just have to be able to, you know, sit up to take it because they need to do capturing of your.
Okay. So whatever. But I mean, they seamless by ensuring that from the schools, you know, from the primary schools or whatever it is, they can actually get, you understand? And then in the marketplaces, you know, where you have a lot of people, you know, so that it will be better than everybody crowding.
This thing that you said, just start rushing. Of course, people are going to take advantage of these things. So it's important that planning is always important to then put in this project timeline. It was just, is it 2 weeks before they came and they extended
but to ourselves, we Nigerians, we should change our attitude to things. I know the government also has its own side, you know, of the issue. But we also Nigerian, because this thing has been on for almost 3 years now.
That's getting the NIN or the SIM card
the
and
NIN getting the has been on for a while. The question is, what was the level of orientation done on these things,
and even accessibility for people working.
If we drive this,
so easy.
The way we have driven the campaign of the wearing of nose masks, coronavirus. If we drive this campaign like this for just 6 months, do the right things, put centers everywhere for 6 months. You will capture at least 60% of the population.
That's why I said, apart from that, I mean, literally everywhere with centers. I mean, that even as a blind man, you will know that there is a center there.
You have no excuse. You have no excuse. Yeah, right? So although
we have to wrap up right now, and I just want to say that, you know, Kana said that everybody must comply with the crossover directive of each state wherever you find yourself, and I think people should worked up about these things because I don't know why people are getting worked up.
It's a mind
because by 2 p.m. tomorrow Nigerian time, my friends in Switzerland they're already saying Happy New Year.
No, I mean it's a mind
of you this morning, and
Yes.
I see that the crossover time of 12 to
So,
if you're in church is more of a tradition than really a
yeah, I
spiritual
want to see
activity.
that.
Yes, and that is why we need to break away from it. Truly, we need to break away from it. Yes, I would love to be in church at that time too. Because this has been something that has been with me for the past 50 years. So trying to change it, I need to break my mindset that excuse me,
start from the mind.
God
All right.
also is with me in my
Where you are.
house.
And
All
of
right,
course,
we have to go down and say thank you so much for joining us this morning. It's been a pleasure having this conversation. I think we'll see you guys next year.
Yeah, next year.
Excellent.
Happy New
All
Year.
right,
in advance.
Happy New Year in advance.
Happy
Yeah,
and
Happy
good
New
morning.
Year.
Happy New Year in
advance.
advance, listeners.
We are WFM 91.7, the voice of women, using radio as a tool for women development. We condemn the abuse of women, girls, and children in any shape or form. WFM 91.7, the voice of women.
Have you seen this video? Hey, he's finally proposed and it was straight life. Oh, just that was yesterday, my dear.